Hello, Renee. Today, you guys were talking about why men, hi Karen, why men and women ghost. So this is such a fun topic because 50% of us have experienced ghosting or been ghosted by. But before we do that, you want to intro yourself, Matt?
Yes, I do. My name is Matt Schafer. I'm a transformational speaker and coach obsessed with helping people make shift happen in their lives, personally and professionally and spiritually. I am all about it. And I'm so happy to be here because, yeah, ghosting is it's one of those topics that I think everybody deals with it, right? Like everybody deals with this in their relationships, don't they?
Have you ever ghosted a girl, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not proud of it. I'm just like doing a thing I'm not proud of it, but I have, and sometimes there are valid reasons, right? I mean, there really are sometimes valid reasons for why we do it. I'm not saying it's the right way to go, but every guy does it at some time or another, even the nice guys,
Even gentlemen.
Yeah, the gentlemen do it too sometimes,
Yeah, I know that.
Have you ghosted?
Oh yeah, I was queen of ghosting to the point where I ended up, once I became just a little bit more intelligent, I went back and I apologized to the people that I ghosted. And so I love this topic. Hi, Christine. I'm so happy my best friend Chelsea's on here. I ended up going back and apologizing because I ghosted some great people hardcore because I didn't know how to tell them I wasn't interested at the time. And then I remember I got to make some amends. I've definitely ghosted. I'm sure I've been ghosted on. I'd have to drum up some stories. I know it's had to have happened. Hi, Rachel. Ross says people ghost because they lose interest and are too passive aggressive and too avoidant of probably need confrontation.
I think
their decisions. So before we get into the topic, two people want to come say hi. Oh, hi, Miley.
It's the dog
I'm a
edition.
love coach. You just moved. Oh, careful, baby. I'm a love coach for women. I solely work with ladies who are wanting to date and meet the man of their dreams. And hey, no, they're acting like freaking Simba and Nala. Hey, Miley's trying to hump Jonah. Miley, no.
Look, it's happening over here too.
No, Miley, go lay down. Go lay down. Jonah doesn't want to be humped. Jonah, just ghost her. So I work with women solely, specifically and only. Whatever you want, I'm your girl, okay? When it comes to men, when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to communication, all that fun stuff, I help a woman attract the man of their dreams and create the relationship that they want. Fun, adventurous, safe, playful, passionate, all that fun stuff. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love it.
Do you want to start by diving into why ghosting sucks, or should we ask for some ghosting stories?
Oh yeah, does anybody have some ghost stories or stories about being ghosted or ghosting? And if we get a good enough story, maybe they'll win the Organifi this week. I don't know. Maybe if you do a good enough ghost story, you'll win the Organifi.
Yeah, I love that. And everyone hopping on, hello. If you're new, click share. Please share your video, and then you have a chance to enter and win one of these amazing, expensive, high-dollar products, the best nutrition company on the planet. So we're going to give that product away at the end. You actually get to pick out your product, which is really cool. And just says, if you help warm me up, I'm a single gentleman. Oh, I'm not. I'm not a matchmaker. Except for, it would be fun, but I'm not a matchmaker.
So as far as ghosting goes, so let's like lay the context, right? Like, what is ghosting? I mean, ghosting is, in my mind, and tell me if you have a different understanding, it's just cutting off, like starting to connect with somebody and then just basically flaking, right? Like going off the grid on them. Is that, and without explanation, without justification, and maybe without even like a really specific reason that the other person is aware of. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. So it's I think of like Casper. I just think of like an actual ghost, someone that you can't see. It's the disappearing act, right? So say you go on an amazing date, you have an amazing connection. Hi, Eva. You have an amazing connection, maybe multiple connections, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them. That would be ghosting in a nutshell, right?
And so, good.
I was gonna say I can talk about a little bit of the science as to why it's uncomfortable when you're on the receiving end or you're the one being ghosted. Because I know that it's really hard for some people, especially when we're in it, right? Have you been ghosted on, Matt?
Yeah, a couple times. Well, a couple times I've had a date that I thought went really well, and it was just like all money, right? And I was super excited to get to know the person better, and then just nothing materializes. It hasn't happened. I mean, I've honestly probably more often been the ghoster rather than the ghostee.
You asshole.
I am. I'm a terrible person. I am.
So they say, and the reason that it sucks, and we can also think that we're being ghosted as women, and it can only be 3 days of not hearing from the man. But because by nature we love bonding, right, and we really honor and cherish connection and relationship. If we're not hearing from the man, we can experience and feel as though we're being ghosted or disappeared on, when ultimately you do hear from them. So that is easier to also talk about and relate to. Hello, everyone hopping on. Hi, Andrew.
Hey. Yeah.
So the reason it's like torture for some people, and I know I see it all the time in the all girls group where they're like, I've been ghosted, it was so amazing, and I haven't heard from him. I'm like, ugh. And the reason that it hurts so bad is there's actually the neural pathways that fire off for rejection are the same ones that fire off for physical pain, right? So that's why it sucks to be ghosted on, right? It really does. And we actually have these because our survival depends on staying connected, right? So we built in this social monitoring basically system, right? So we constantly know how to respond to social cues. And the reason ghosting is so hard is when someone ghosts, we don't have a social cue to then respond to then emotionally dysregulate, right? To disengage, to know how to respond, because it's just like this abyss. Right, and that's why ghosting, women hate it, and men. I'm sure. I just know the women. I know I work with women, so you know me. I always go like the women, but same with men, right? Because we are survival instincts, right? We're designed to be in connection, and if someone just disappears, our system goes off. Like we don't even know how to respond to that because there's nothing to respond to.
Exactly, and that is something that the why. Like, why did this happen? Not being able to get an because I think a lot of times for closure, right? Like we want to understand what happened and how we can shift and what we can do to make it better for next time or whatever. And when someone ghosts on you, it's like it creates like it can create an open wound in your psyche, especially if you don't deal with it the right way. I think that's totally a thing, especially if because generally it only happens with somebody that you're like really excited about too. Because I think like it doesn't even register if it's somebody where there wasn't really.
Because you're fantasizing about your kid names.
Yeah.
Hi, Jazzy. Hi, baby.
Yeah, you start projecting.
Yeah. Hi, Mary. Everyone hopping on.
Hi, Dan. What's up?
Dan says partnering is really being a full operational ship first. Then I'm really just looking for a fellow traveler. Yay! So cute. I love it, Dan. What a great goal. Eva says, Matt Schafer is ghosting me right now. Answer my email, dude. I need you.
Listen, Eva, I don't know if you've been following my social media, but my life has been something of a clusterfuck for the last week or so. But I promise I'll get to it in the next couple of days. I'm going to be on her summit. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, nice. Eva's doing another summit. Eva, put your link in here so you can go watch your summit. Eva's the shit. Hi, April. Christine says, I think sometimes guys have no clue. The female could think they are being ghosted. Guys don't need the same ongoing connection women do. This is very true.
It really is.
It's so true. And I was laughing because I was listening to Allison Armstrong yesterday, because I'm obsessed with her. And she goes, she's like, guys, she's teaching a workshop. She's like, men, just set an alarm to reach out to her so you don't forget. If all you say is, you text her and you say, I've been thinking about you, that's going to last her a couple hours, okay? Just text her and say that.
Yeah. Well, but there's the other side of it too, right? For men, it's like a lot of times we are excited, but we don't want to appear over interested or over anxious about the woman. And so for men, a lot of times, like, we want to respond, we want to talk, we want to be that guy, but we don't want to like be the, the cat with the string. If you just give the string to the cat walks away, And so I think, like, there's the other, that's like, you got to walk a line between giving a woman attention, but then not giving her too much attention, because then she's going to be like, oh, I got this guy and I'm bored now.
Well, that's for if you're chasing girls.
Oh.
I'm talking about brave ladies here, honey.
Oh, the brave ladies don't do that?
If a girl really likes a guy and she's ready to be in a committed relationship, you cannot give her too much attention. I mean, unless you're like, I want to marry you on the 3rd date, then I'd say stage 9 and this is a red flag. But like, using Drew as an example, is he came in courting, strong. It did not, one part of it turned me off because I was ready for the type of relationship, right? Versus if that would happen 4 years ago, I would have been like, what are you doing, dude? Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's also where the woman's at in her life and what she desires, right? Because it's no game. There doesn't need to be a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl, I want Carl. Carl's he's I don't want to say he's a ladies' man, but Carl is got pretty good. He's pretty good with the ladies. And Carl, what are your feelings on ghosting? Why have you ghosted? Have you ghosted women in the past? What has been your experience with ghosting women or being ghosted? I want to hear from Carl. Carl's a good friend.
Okay, wait. When you say he's pretty good with the ladies, what does that mean to you, Mr. Schafer?
I mean, he's a brilliant, attractive, creative. He's a musician, and the dude's got he's just smooth. Like, he's got great. I don't want to say he's got great game, but like, the guy, I mean, he's He's a stud. So I want to hear, like, has he ghosted women in the past and why?
Does he date a lot of girls? Is he in a relationship? You said he's good with the ladies, so I want to hear
I think he's probably done both. I think he's done both, right? And here's the thing, I've done both. And I mean, most guys, like, and that's the thing, women don't want to hear this, but even they're Mr. Nice guys, like, usually if that guy is attractive and intelligent, like, they've gone through stages. And I don't know this for sure about Drew, but I mean, like, even Drew probably has gone through phases where he has dated around and not been serious with women and just had fun with the fact that he's attractive.
Oh, I'm going to forward him this live right now.
Huh?
If only he was here, we'd have him come on and answer that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his, because here's the thing, even nice guys ghost, even nice guys flake, even nice guys play around, and even nice guys sometimes, especially depending upon their stage of life, screw over women. And it's just like, it's a lot of it's part of our, I think part of how we get to deal with ghosting as someone who's being ghosted is to not take it personally and recognize that it's really a reflection of where that person's at. It does, because I think when we get ghosted, a lot of times we have a tendency to take it personally, right? And make it a reflection on us. What's up, Melissa Benedetti? How you doing, girl?
Hi, Melissa. Hi, love. Okay, Carl responded. He said, I would ghost only when I lost interest and all the communication has been conveyed that we are not going to work out. Yet she doesn't seem to get the message. At that point, you get ghosted. That is understandable. But I wouldn't really call it ghosted, right? Because ghosting is when it's the disappearing act, right? Without,
With no prior warning,
So the best thing, and I love that you went there, like, the best thing to do is to not take it personally. And that's like the one thing, it's like, do not take it personally, like, don't. And I think, granted, though, it's always case by case. If you ended up sitting down on a date and, made it like an interview style and we're asking a man all these sorts of questions and then he ghosted you, that I'm not surprised by, and that you can take inquiry for to avoid being ghosted again in the future, right? Which some women do that, and they don't know any better, so it's okay. Hi, Rachel. Paige says, I wanted and got someone authentic. It's my first and only relationship. That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Where are you, Matt?
I'm here.
So what else do you think? If someone gets ghosted, what are their best next steps?
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking the initiative and reaching out to the person that ghosted you and be like, hey, it seemed like things were going great. Like, what happened? You know, like I would just like to hear I would just like your perspective on it. You know, I think being able to have the courage to do that is admirable. You know, like recognizing that it's not about you, acknowledging that it's not about you, then reaching out to the person and seeing if they'll give you an additional, you know, give you any explanation from a space of non-judgment. I think is healthy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, but not being attached to their response, right? Because generally, when somebody ghosts, I mean, there's probably a likelihood they're not going to respond, you know.
Yeah.
But like, can you ask for feedback, right, without being attached to whether they respond and what they respond with? I think is the question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love that question, and I want to answer it because that's a really good question. And then before we do that, I have a call. It sucks because we got started so late, but I have a client right in a couple of minutes, or right at 1:15. So let's start playing the number game. And anyone who guessed, everyone share this. Everyone hopping on, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Matt and I are here for you every Wednesday just to get into the deets, the dirty, hot, and spicy truth about dating and relationships. So you can count on us on my page or his page. And share us. Will you please click share and guess a number between 1 and 50, and you have a high chance of winning Organifi. All you have to do is share and guess a number, and it could be yours. You get to go to the store and pick either their protein powder, their green juice, their gold, which is my favorite, red juice. They have a pumpkin spice. And Matt, do you want to guess? Do you want to have the number in your head, or do you want me to have the number in my head?
Sure, I'll have the number. Absolutely. I'll either write it down.
Carl says, in that case, you get ghosted after the first meeting. Encounter was not very pleasant, but it's hard to explain this. So it may be a bit wrong sometimes. You just tend to cut off all forms of communication. Comes from a fear of confrontation. Carl, he's emotionally intelligent. Ladies, everyone, Carl, are you single? Ladies, go stalk him at him who's watching. Melissa said, I stepped in late. Depends on when they get ghosted. Unless we're assuming into each other, I would not seek feedback. I might provide them with some feedback. She's like, I'm going to give his ass feedback. So to answer your question, I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
It does depend. If you went on a few dates and then just didn't hear from him, I would not advise or coach my ladies into reaching out to him. And here's why. I just am such a believer that the right man will court you, and he will capture you, and he will pursue you. And if he's not courting you, aka you don't hear from him, then it's time to stay open to a man that is courting you, because someone will, right? So the right man will. So I know that a lot of times when we're just unsure and we're just maybe starting to date again, or dating's new to us, we can be maybe ambiguous, or like, what the heck, I didn't hear from him, and then we get like this one-itis, right? That doesn't serve us. So I think, just to answer your question, it's more about coming back to what does work, right? And then, but it's different if you are seeing him for 3 months and he falls off the face of the earth, right? That
100%. Yeah.
So hello, everyone who's on. So everyone guess a number between 1 and 50 and drop the number, and you have a chance to win Organifi between 1 and 50. Guess it and click share.
1 to 50. We're going to announce the number in just a moment. And just to kind of recap what we went over today, it's like, first and foremost, especially for the ladies, don't jump the gun on whether or not you've been ghosted. Like, don't just assume because you haven't heard from a dude for a couple days that you've been ghosted. Like, give space for men to, you know, pursue intimacy on a wider timeline, because we don't always know. You know, we don't understand. We're not as present to continual connection the way that women are. Like, we're just not. You know, most of us is the big. You know, and then also what we talked about is recognize that, don't take it personally, right? Recognize that it's not about you. It's always a reflection of that person and where they're at in their own life. Like when I've ghosted women in my life, it was a direct reflection of my own maturity, my own stuff that was coming up for me.
I remember it, for any of those who are being ghosted, I remember back in the day ghosting a man simply because he was so amazing and so perfect. I was like, this is too good to be true. Like, the shoe's gonna drop, so I'll just play it safe and date men that are not of that caliber. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show that you could be being ghosted because you're so incredible and he just can't handle it yet, which is fine. You don't want to try and change him or her, right? So I just think it's important that just goes to show, like, don't take it personally. Like, it could be a compliment for all you know.
Yeah, it's usually dodging a bullet. Usually if somebody disappears from your life, it happened because y'all are on two different pages and that person wasn't going to be good for your long-term trajectory of your life anyway. So, I mean, I'm always grateful when somebody exits my life, whether it's painful or not, you know, because it generally happens for very specific reasons.
Melissa says, trying hard to be honest and not ghost others. Good. Yes. Just the truth. Sometimes it hurts. I remember once I did finally learn to start communicating it, to support you, Melissa, because she's like, it's hard to be honest. I remember once I learned if I'm interested in a guy and he was pursuing me, to call and just say, hey, I think you're great, but I'm not interested. And I was so afraid of his response, and he was like, wow. He was like, thank you so much. Like, he was so thankful. He's like, most women don't do that. So just lean in, honey. It feels good and empowering anyway. So just lean in. And like you said, Matt, which I love that you touched on, not being attached. Like, talk about freedom.
That's the most important thing. And if you're going to, whether you decide to ask for feedback or not, depending upon how long you've been with that person, if you do choose to ask them, you know, so we had, you know, 2 months of awesome dates and then you just ceased to exist in my life, you know, like do you mind telling me what happened? And I just know in my own experience, when that has happened to me, it's because if I'm the ghostee, it's because they got back together with an ex or they met somebody else is usually what happens. Or for me, when I've ghosted a couple of women, it was because I connected with somebody else. So that's almost the assumption that I make is I'm like, oh, well, their ex must have came back into their life or whatever. And
yeah,
who cares, right? It just means they weren't the right person and there's somebody else, you know, out there for you, which is beautiful.
Yeah, Matt is right. There's an abundance of wonderful women and men in this universe, hands down. There really is. Carl guessed 35, Melissa guessed 27. And Christine, do you want to guess? I don't know if Christine guessed. Christine, do you want to guess Samantha? Everyone
between 1 and 50, guys, put a number in the comments between 1 and 50 to win Organifi. I'm going to show you the number in 10 seconds. So if you want to win a chance to win up to an $80 product from the Organifi store, guess the number between 1 to 50 in the comment box and share the video to be eligible to win. You have 10 seconds remaining. Christine says 16.
I love the topic.
I know.
It's such a good one.
It is.
You guys are going to go out there. We want amazing Halloween. Lean into any conversations that you don't want to have, but you know you should have. Know that there's an abundance of men and women out there, and you get to have your wildest dreams come true. One of my favorite mantras is the desires of my heart are placed there for a reason, and I don't them. So don't ignore them. That's like, but I have Organifi. Oh, yay. Carl said it all comes down to self-worth. If you feel you deserve the best, then you will not settle for anything less. Amen.
Amen to that.
Number 1.
And so here's the number, guys. It is 37. So Carl wins. He was off by 2. Carl, you were on point today, my friend.
That's so crazy. Okay, when I went, you want to guess the number in my head or the one in Matt's head? I had 36 in my head.
Weird.
I know.
Wow, we're all on the same page today.
And hi, Mackenzie. Well, we love you guys. Make sure you go watch start from the beginning, everyone hopping on, and everyone on the replay. We love you as well. And we'll be on your page. We'll be on Matt's page next Wednesday at 12:30 Pacific.
From my brand new apartment in Dallas, Texas. What?
I love Dallas.
Yeehaw.
I'll fit right in with this, right?
You'll be right at home with your plaid and your blonde hair.
I'll get some boots and a cowgirl hat.
Yeehaw.
We love you guys. I love you, Maddie.
Lots of love. Bye, Becky. See you later.
Bye.